What's up, everybody? It is Broken Havoc right here on the Broken Havoc podcast, here to discuss, review, and break down Monday Night Raw, more like Saturday Morning Slam, from April 19th, 2021. Now, before we get on the review, I want to say, yes, I know I haven't made a video in a while. I was busy on a couple things, but hey, we're back on track. We're going to be doing Raw reviews, Dynamite reviews, SmackDown reviews, and also we got the Impact Wrestling pay-per-view coming up this Sunday, Rebellion, where Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion, is going to put his title on the line against the Impact World Champion, who's also going to put his title on the line, Rich Swann, in a title-for-title match. Of course, we all know who's going to win. Omega's going to win. He's going to have both the Impact World title and the AEW World title, plus he also has the AAA Mega title, but hey, we're gonna discuss more about that in our Dynamite review this coming Thursday. That I will be uploading that video. As you guys are watching this video is uploaded on Tuesday. But yeah, what can I say about Raw? We're gonna start our Raw review. What can I say about Raw? This show sucked. That's like literally all I can say. Like, this show is terrible. One of the worst shows I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen some bad shows. Like everything about the show is just bad. It's terrible, horrible. It sucks. I don't want to watch it, but you know what? It is what it is. All right, the show starts off with Drew McIntyre. He cuts a promo talking about how many times you work hard and make things happen. Says that the opportunity falls in your lap and talks about him confronting MVP last week and how he will get his WWE title rematch. He talks about how Braun Strowman, Randy Orton all wanted a title shot against Bobby Lashley, who he put to sleep. He put Drew McIntyre to sleep at WrestleMania, which I attended, by the way. It was actually a really fun experience. And how Adam Pearce made a triple threat, a three-way number one contenders match. He talks about how he beat both of those top stars on Raw, and how he will face Bobby Lashley at Backlash. I refuse to call it WrestleMania Backlash. I don't know why they added WrestleMania on that name. Just call it Backlash. Don't call it WrestleMania Backlash. It's one of the lamest things I've ever seen. Later talks about how Mason T-Bar attacked him last week and that he thinks that MVP is the one behind it. MVP after that comes out. He states that he had nothing to do with that attack from Mason T-Bar, which were part of that failure of a faction Retribution, which we don't want to discuss because that faction was terrible. He thought that the Hurt Business... I honestly thought that the Hurt Business was split up. He's basically saying that the Hurt Business had nothing to do with it, but I thought that the Hurt Business was already split up. But yeah, it's a promo confronting MVP and T-Bar. And then all of a sudden, while MVP was talking, Mason T-Bar attacked Drew McIntyre from behind. Honestly, what do I think about this segment? It was an alright segment, but same crap that we saw last week. Literally, like same ending that started off Raw last week. Same thing. This basically happened last week. Lazy booking, ridiculous, and whatever. We got the War Raiders, not the Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar, versus Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, the Hurt Business, which I thought were split up, but oh well. So, the Viking Raiders are back after how long? I believe one of the members of the Viking Raiders, I believe it was Eric, who was injured for a while. He came back. But yeah, Eric and Shelton Benjamin start off the match. Shelton is trying to ground Eric. Alexander tags in. He's taking control over Eric. Shelton tags in. Later, Cedric is a legal man. Tags in and suplexes Cedric. Ivar hits a splash. Cedric tags in. Ivar plants Shelton. Shelton tries to hold on to Ivar, not to make the tag. Applies the ankle lock over Ivar. Tags in and works on Shelton. And suplex by Benjamin on Ivar. Tornado DDT on Cedric Alexander, or by Cedric Alexander on Eric. Fight breaks out outside the ring between Shelton and Ivar. Eric hits a knee on Cedric. Ivar and Eric hit the Viking Express on Cedric. And yeah, they won the match. What do I think about this match? Your typical tag team match on Raw. Honestly, who cares about this match? Nobody cares about this match. It makes no sense whatsoever. I don't know why they booked a match like this. Really, out of all the notes that I took on this, you probably were like, what the hell is he talking about? I sure as hell don't know what I'm talking about, mainly because this match was just boring. I didn't really care. The commentary was dreadful, in my opinion. I don't like the new commentary team on Raw. That new guy, apparently he worked for MLB. He works for MLB Network, but he's not great at what he does. Samoa Joe should have stayed on commentary, which, by the way, I'm going to go on a little rant on Samoa Joe. How does WWE release Samoa Joe? How? How do you release Samoa Joe? This guy should have been WWE champion. I don't understand. This company. It goes to show you that this company really does not know the value in a wrestler. After you released Samoa Joe, it goes to show you that The Office does not know a single thing about professional wrestling. That's just my opinion, but whatever. We got Randy Orton being interviewed backstage. He says that Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, will not be seen anymore as long as he is here. He talks about WrestleMania Backlash, talks about the WWE Championship, and then all of a sudden, Matt Riddle, not Riddle, Matt Riddle, I refuse to call him Riddle, comes in looking high as hell, talks about how he lost his title, and says he wants to be in a tag team with Orton called RK Bro. I shit you not, he actually said that. He wants to be in a tag team called RK Bro. Look, Matt Riddle, man, why is he involved in this segment? First off, they're treating him like a joke. Why are you treating Matt Riddle as a joke? This guy is a star in the making, and you're treating him like a joke. Granted, everybody knows he does what he does outside of the ring, but like you don't have to book him like that. This guy in NXT, dude, this guy was a gem in NXT. This guy, yeah, he acted high, but he had some personality to him. Here, he looks overly scripted, and you really don't believe what he's saying. He's just acting it out. In NXT, he was just him. And on the main roster, he's just terrible. And, like, I feel really bad for Matt Riddle, man. Like, this guy deserves more. But they literally make fun of Matt Riddle every week. He's used as a comedy act. Granted, he did win the U.S. title, but still. Do mid-card titles mean anything in WWE? I don't think so. Not anymore. They don't mean anything at all. They should mean something, but they don't. Basically, why is Orton in the title hunt? I don't know why. They're calling it WrestleMania Backlash, too. Like, WrestleMania. I refuse to call it WrestleMania Backlash. For my layout, I'm just going to call it Backlash. I refuse to call it WrestleMania Backlash. Like, WrestleMania passed, and it was an awesome show, especially night one because I was there. But, like, bro, like, come on now. Like, WrestleMania Backlash, that's the best you can come up with. Hell, even Money in the Bank, it's still its own pay-per-view. Like, bro, the Money in the Bank match should be at WrestleMania. It shouldn't be its own pay-per-view. I'm sorry. But whatever. Adam Pearce is backstage with Randy Orton and states that there's a lack of respect backstage towards him and asks for a match against Matt Riddle, which, by the way, was actually an awesome match. I really enjoyed that match. But yeah, so we're going to later on tonight, we're going to get a match between Randy Orton. He hears voices in his head against the broski, Matt Riddle. Charlotte Flair. Yes, Charlotte Flair. Woo! She talks about returning and demanding respect from the locker room. She says that she was expressing how she felt, says that the ladies don't even like each other as much as they don't like her. She says that she had a WrestleMania match taken from her. Now, granted, back on that note, of course, her fiance, Andrade, got released. Now, we don't know where he's going to go. In real life, by the way, this is not in kayfabe. Andrade, who's Charlotte's fiance, got released and basically said a lot of things in an interview about he said a lot of things about the backstage climate in WWE now and his experience, and they're not really that good ones, and I'm not going to mention it on here, but it was really bad. But that's besides the point. Returning back on the segment. She says that she can beat Rhea Ripley and Asuka. Rhea Ripley, of course, who's the current Raw Women's Champion. She says that she's going to give Asuka an opportunity. She says that she's going to remind her why she is the queen. Asuka interrupts her, and later Rhea Ripley comes out. Rhea says that she knows that she will beat Charlotte. Asuka says that she will beat her bitch. She literally just yelled out, "She will beat her bitch." And yeah, what are my thoughts on this segment? Typical Charlotte segment of her complaining. Honestly, do I want her to have a title again? Absolutely not. Like Charlotte, how many titles has she won? Like 11, 12? I don't even know. But like I don't want to be disrespectful like in a crazy way, but like she doesn't deserve another title. She should give that opportunity to other women. She should. I'm sorry. Charlotte shouldn't be put in the spotlight all the time. I hate the fact that they always have to rely on Charlotte. She's not a draw. She was the NXT Women's Champion last year. To put her on NXT head-to-head against AEW, and the ratings still did not reflect that. Charlotte, look, she is amazing in the ring. She's really good. She's talented in the ring. I just don't think that she should be overexposed as she is. That's my opinion. All right. Orton is backstage, and Riddle scooters pass through him, pissing Randy Orton off even worse. And then we come back from commercial break, and we get Matt Riddle versus Randy Orton. Now, my notes on this match. This match was by far the best match so far of the show. I really enjoyed this match. It was your typical WWE style match. I mean, there's a lot of headlocks. There's a lot of that stuff. But here's some of my notes on the match. Both lock up. Orton applies a headlock. Riddle later applies a sleeper hold on Orton. Multiple sleeper holds, by the way, which is insane. Orton uses the hair to escape. Riddle again applies a sleeper hold. Then he applies it again after being dragged to the turnbuckle. Orton drops him back first. Riddle hits a body lock. Riddle tries to kick Orton, but Orton holds on and drops him outside the ring. Orton drops him on the announce table. Orton is stomping on the foot of Riddle. Riddle chops through Orton, but Orton counters with a power slam, but gets a 2 count. Orton hits a vertical suplex on Riddle. Orton works on Riddle, but tries to counter back with a couple flare chops, by the way. Riddle gets sent chest first onto the turnbuckles, which was pretty devastating. Covered by Orton, but gets a 2 count. Headlock by Orton. Riddle counters back. Orton tries to run towards Riddle, but Riddle ducks, and Orton hits his shoulder on the post. Riddle hits a Pele kick. Riddle begins to get momentum. Orton strikes back. Leg sweep and Broton by Riddle. Riddle goes through the top turnbuckle, and Orton catches him. Both are on top. Superplex by Orton onto Riddle. Orton covers Riddle, but gets the 2 count. Orton hits a DDT on Riddle face first. Orton tries to go for the RKO, and Riddle counters with a crucifix and gets a 3 count for the win. Awesome finish to the match. Overall, I thought this match was pretty good. Best match of the night so far. Actually, best match of the night so far. This was the best match. I believe there was a better match later on in the night. But yeah, literally, this is the second match of the show, and it's only the beginning of the second hour. Like, I expected like there to be like already like 3 matches, but like no, we're only in the second match of the night, and it's the beginning of the second hour, which is insane. Adam Pearce is backstage with Sheamus. Adam congratulates Sheamus for winning the U.S. title at WrestleMania. Sheamus states that he does not care about the past and says that he will do an open challenge, but not for the U.S. title. Oh well. What are my thoughts? Could care less. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Lana and Naomi. This is an alright match. It was not the best match. Why is Shayna Baszler in a tag team with Nia Jax? Nothing against Nia Jax. I'm just saying Shayna Baszler should be put at the top instead of the middle or at the bottom. I don't care if they're the women's tag team champions. Honestly, those titles, in my opinion, are irrelevant. NXT doesn't even need women's tag titles, too. They could have just used the WWE women's tag titles. But my issue is, when they introduced the women's tag titles, there was barely any tag teams in that women's division. They had to like literally just put women together, which is something you shouldn't do. You should build up teams first and then introduce the titles. But that's a story for another time. All right. Nia and Naomi start. Naomi works on Nia with kicks. Lana tags in and tries to go for a side Russian leg sweep, but does not succeed. Naomi tags in and both double team on Nia. Both try to suplex Nia, but Nia counters and suplexes them both, which was crazy. Shayna tags in and works on Lana, stomps the arm of Lana. Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose come in and literally show footage from last week about her, about Mandy Rose basically falling on the stage. If you guys haven't seen, she basically botched when she was entering the ring. She pulled the Titus O'Neil and basically like slipped. Granted, because it was raining at WrestleMania in the beginning of the show, which is crazy. It started raining and it was ridiculous. But then all of a sudden, Nia Jax gets humiliated and leaves the match. Both Lana and Naomi double team and pin. Yes, they pinned Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler gets pinned. How? Why? Shayna Baszler. Out of all the things that I don't like about Raw is that the wrong people get pinned. Why did Shayna get pinned? Why? It should have been Nia. Instead, you had Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke come in to do a quote-unquote distraction, which was a really dumb booking decision, by the way. Why would you add that? You could have just had a normal match and fine. But, like, Shayna Baszler, the former NXT Women's Champion, one of the longest reigning NXT Women's Champions in history. Now, granted, Asuka had a longer reign. She's the longest reigning NXT Women's Champion, but Shayna Baszler had a decent run with that title. And for her to get pinned like that, bruh, I'm sorry. But no, I can't stand it. No. Shayna Baszler should be put at a higher position in the women's division, not here. She should be the champion already. She should be the women's champion already. No, but she's in a tag team with Nia Jax. Nothing against Nia Jax, but like, really? Is that the best you can come up with Shayna Baszler? Come on, man. She's a powerhouse of an athlete. And you have to really do her dirty like that. It's ridiculous. All right, next up, we got Miz TV featuring Maurice, who is the Miz's wife. They talk about their show, Miz and Mrs., which, by the way, I actually watched a couple episodes of Miz and Mrs. It's a funny show. I'm actually pretty entertained by that show. That show's actually really funny. And they talk about the Miz's WWE 24 documentary, which I believe airs this Sunday on Peacock. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they both raise a glass. And then Damian Priest interrupts. Damian Priest, by the way, this guy, I look at him as a main event guy, as a main event player, because I really do think he will be in the main event in like maybe 3 or 4 years' time. I honestly hope to God he gets put in the main event. He's a fantastic wrestler. The mic skills can improve a little bit. They're not bad, but they can improve a little bit. But I really do think Damian Priest will be a main eventer in a couple years. I honestly think so. This guy is amazing at what he does. When you look at him, you see he's a star. He interrupts. He says that The Miz is more delusional than Jake Paul, thinking he's a real fighter. Damn, he did Jake Paul dirty in that one. He says that everyone says that he has no cojones, no balls, basically. Maurice says that Priest will have a match with The Miz, and The Miz looked shocked. Like, he looked shocked. Damon tries to drink that drink that they had. I think it was like champagne or whatever, or a little bit of the bubbly. Shout out to Chris Jericho, by the way. And while he drinks it, Damian Priest is like, bro, that's trash. And then all of a sudden, The Miz just throws the drink on Damian Priest's face. Damian looks pissed. And Damian looks like extremely pissed in this segment. Miz and Maurice escape. And then all of a sudden, we got the New Day with Matt Riddle backstage. They congratulate Riddle on his win, which I said before was an awesome match. Woods says that he has a large case, and Riddle states that he should put silver dollar pancakes, and both literally scream. Yes, silver dollar pancakes in that large case. But yeah, we got Elias with Jackson Riker in the ring, and the New Day come out with Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods was playing a bass. Yes, you heard me right. He was playing a bass. All right. This match, we got Kingston versus Elias. Elias starts with the kick, covers and gets a 2 count, hits another kick and gets a 2 count. Elias works on Kofi, and Woods distracts Elias. Elias hits a vertical suplex on Kofi. Elias is getting the heat on Kofi, basically. Elias plants Kofi and gets a 2 count. Elias is working on the left arm. Kofi hits a crossbody on Elias, which looked like a frog. It looked like a frog splash, but it really wasn't because Elias was standing up. But it really looked like it was a frog splash. But yeah, it was a crossbody. Kofi hits a couple kicks on Elias. Sunset flip by Kofi. Kofi hits the SOS and gets a 2 count. Elias is in the top turnbuckle and Kofi comes up but pushes Kofi out. Kofi again goes up the top turnbuckle or the middle rope, whatever you want to call it, and tries to go for a Hurricane Rana, but Elias counters and hits an elbow drop and pins Kofi for the 3 count. What are my thoughts on this match? Not the best match. This whole feud is a freaking joke. I think this feud makes no sense whatsoever. I don't know why this feud is going on. One of the reasons why Raw is terrible, I feel like the New Day should be put in a better position. I think Elias and Jackson Riker, they were great and all, but like for me, they're just used as a joke and a comedy act. I mean, they're not really a comedy act, but you know what I'm saying. Next up, we get Alexa's Playground. Now, I will say this about Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss is doing the best work of her career. I honestly believe this whole character that she's playing with, like, you know, the Fiend's like protege and all that stuff is pretty unique. Now, granted, what happened at WrestleMania, I believe she cost the Fiend the match. She cost Fiend the match, but whatever. She talks about her doll Lily, who she had since she was a little girl, which was really disturbing. That whole thing. She says that they were on a playground. And she says that she put the doll forward to put the women's division on notice. So yeah, Alexa Bliss is putting the women's division on notice. What do I think about this? I think Alexa Bliss, do I think she should be champion? I don't know. I mean, from a character standpoint, I mean, like, maybe. Yeah, but, like, honestly, I feel like they're doing a lot right now with Rhea Ripley and the whole Charlotte Flair thing, which I'll get into that later on. But I don't think Alexa's going to be the Raw Women's Champion anytime soon. That's just me. We get Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose interviewed. They get interviewed backstage. They basically say that Nia and Shayna are the bullies. Nia Jax comes in and literally Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, who are the baby faces, just run off. If they were like an actual baby face, they would have at least like had like a backstage brawl with Nia, but no, they ran off. Really? That's like the heelish thing to do. And they are the baby faces and they're just running off. Like, that's a dumb booking decision, in my opinion. But whatever. Shayna says that Shayna Baszler comes in and she basically she tells Nia to get her act together and all that stuff. And yeah. Okay, now this is the worst part of the show. This match, terrible. I did not like it whatsoever, and you'll see why. Drew McIntyre versus T-Bar, a.k.a. Dominic Dijakovic, and Mace, a.k.a. Dio Madden. For those of you who didn't know. All right. Notes on the match. Drew goes for the attack on T-Bar. He chops him, works on T-Bar, suplexes T-Bar and gets a 2 count, headbutts T-Bar. Mace tags in and goes after Drew. Drew hits Mace with a devastating chop, which that was a crazy fucking chop, for lack of a better term. Later, Mace works on Drew. T-Bar tags in, both double suplex McIntyre, gets a 2 count. T-Bar works on Drew. Drew fights back. Mace tags in, both double team on Drew. T-Bar tags in, spine buster by Drew McIntyre on T-Bar and gets a 2 count. T-Bar drops from the middle rope, only to land on his elbow by McIntyre. On an elbow by McIntyre, I might add. My bad. Both T-Bar and Mace just double team on Drew, and the match ends in a... You guys know the word. This match ends in a DQ. A disqualification. Every week, any match ends in a DQ when you watch Raw. Or even SmackDown. This happens on SmackDown too, and it's ridiculous. Braun Strowman comes out in defense of T-Bar and in defense of Drew McIntyre. T-Bar and Mace escape. We go to commercial break. Literally during the commercial break, I assume there's going to be a tag match between McIntyre and Strowman versus T-Bar and Mace. And lo and behold, I was right. Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre versus T-Bar and Mace. What can I say about this match? This match was not bad, but like, it's your typical Raw booking where one match ends in a DQ, a brawl breaks out, you go to commercial break, and there's a tag match with the same people with 1 or 2 new people included. That's exactly what this match was. That's one of the reasons why Raw is terrible. They're lazy booking. Why is this match happening? Why? Because a brawl broke out, now you sanction a tag match? Get out of here. I don't want to watch a tag match with the same people after I just watch a match finish in a DQ. No. It's one of the reasons why Raw sucks. This show is terrible. This show is so bad. But whatever. Let's get some notes on this match. All right. Let's see this. Both Strowman and Mace lock up. Strowman works on Mace. Headlock by Strowman. Drew tags in and works on T-Bar. Strowman tags in, both double team. Both T-Bar and Mace double team on Strowman. Big boot by T-Bar on Strowman. Strowman takes control. Both tag each other's partner. Drew takes control over Mace. Belly-to-belly suplex by McIntyre on Mace. Neckbreaker by McIntyre. McIntyre removes Mace's mask to reveal, of course, Dio Madden. And Mace slaps Drew, and Mace slaps him back and hits Mace with the mask, and the match ends in a DQ. Another DQ. Lo and behold, terrible. T-Bar comes in to make the save, but Strowman comes in and removes T-Bar's mask to reveal it's Dominik Dijakovic. Thoughts? I really don't care about this match. This match sucked. I hated this booking. One of the worst. WWE does this type of booking all the time. They always love pulling off their DQs because they do not know what to do with these people. This match was boring and it sucked. Hell, this show is so bad, I don't even know how to book it. Like, that's how bad this show is. This show is so bad that I don't even know how to book it either because, like, they literally messed a lot of things up on the road to WrestleMania. Like, the road to WrestleMania this year was, quite frankly, one of the worst builds to a WrestleMania. And look, we've seen some bad builds to WrestleMania. Like, for example, WrestleMania 31, the build was not great, but the show itself delivered. Like, WrestleMania 31 is one of the best WrestleManias of the modern era. But that's another story for another time. All right, next match. Damian Priest versus The Miz. Well, let's see this. Notes on this match. Miz escapes the ring as the bell rings, and he proceeds to kiss Maurice. Priest goes on the attack, hits a vertical suplex, and later hits a forearm on The Miz. Maurice gets involved, and The Miz takes control. Miz goes on the attack outside of the ring. Both go inside the ring. Miz drops Priest on the top. Repeated right hands by Miz and a kick on Priest. Miz gets a 2 count. Miz hits a neck breaker. Then he proceeds to hit Daniel Bryan's yes kicks on Damian Priest. Damian gets fired up, plants Miz face first on the mat, tries to suplex Miz, but Miz counters and Priest counters back. Priest is about to chokeslam him, but Miz gets scared. Maurice distracts Priest, and Miz takes advantage with a roll-up on his foot on the ropes, but gets a 2 count. Priest later hits the lights, hits the Reckoning. That's what his finisher is in NXT, the Reckoning, and wins the match. Overall thoughts? Not that bad of a match. It was your typical match between The Miz and Damian Priest, as, you know, it was their first match, but, like, whatever. This match was pretty self-explanatory. It was just a match. Nobody cared. Honestly, like, The Miz, what they're doing with The Miz, when The Miz won the title this year, I thought it was really dumb. Why would you put The Miz as WWE champion? The Miz, in my opinion, is one of the worst acts on Monday Night Raw. I believe that wholeheartedly. I do think his 2016 run on SmackDown, I believed in what The Miz was saying. Here, throughout these past few months when he was with John Morrison, he still is with John Morrison. Oh my God. The over-scripting of The Miz, oh my God, it was one of the worst. Like, you would see probably one of the worst segments in television history. Like, The Miz is one of the worst things on Raw now. Look, The Miz is a great wrestler. I just think that they're literally overly scripting him with all this garbage, and it's really terrible. Like, I hate it. It's so bad. But whatever. It is what it is. Sheamus. We get a Sheamus segment. He says that he's now the new U.S. champion. He says that he's going to be that champion for the long time. He says that he is a fighting champion. He's going to issue an open challenge for the U.S. title. Humberto Carrillo, which we haven't seen him on television in a long time, he comes out. He basically attacks Humberto, dragged him to the barricade, hits repeated chops on Humberto. The match did not even start. I thought there was going to be a match, but apparently this match didn't even start. And we're near the end of the show, by the way. Picks up Humberto, hits him on the ring post. Humberto is basically vulnerable. Sheamus hits a bro kick on Humberto, and yeah, that ends the segment. Now, we got the main event, Asuka versus Charlotte Flair. Right off the bat, what are my thoughts on this match? For all the things that I said about Charlotte Flair, about like how they keep on overbooking her and all that stuff and keep on pushing her to win titles even though she doesn't deserve it, in my opinion, she's still a great wrestler, and you cannot deny that. She is still a great wrestler, and you cannot deny that. This match I thought was pretty awesome. This was a really intense match. Both were bringing their A game, in my opinion. Rhea Ripley comes out to see the match. Now, granted, the finish of this match was kind of off, in my opinion. I thought it was really dumb. But here are my notes on this match. Match starts and both fight it out. Both push each other. Charlotte does a cartwheel and Asuka kicks her in the stomach, which looked really devastating, by the way. Big boot by Charlotte on Asuka. Neck breaker on Charlotte on the apron. Charlotte begins to hit the flare chops on Asuka. Elbow and boot by Asuka. Drop kick. They both drop kick. Drop kick off the second rope by Asuka. My bad. My notes are kind of messed up here. Then she hits a second drop kick. Hip attack by Asuka on Charlotte. Charlotte fights back, but Asuka goes. Asuka hits a German suplex. Running kick by Asuka. Tries to hit a German on Charlotte, but Charlotte hits a devastating elbow. And literally Asuka proceeds to apply an armbar. Striking exchange by both wrestlers. Both exchange elbows. Asuka runs towards Charlotte and hits a devastating spear, but gets a 2 count. Charlotte tries to go for the figure 4, but Asuka counters. Asuka tries to kick Charlotte on the apron, but Charlotte applies the knee bar. Charlotte comes in the ring and applies the Asuka lock. Charlotte applies the figure 4 and figure 8. Actually, no. Charlotte gets put in the Asuka lock, but later she escapes it. Charlotte applies the figure 4 and then proceeds to hit the figure 8. Rhea interferes, but Charlotte fights back without the referee seeing it. Asuka takes advantage and pins Charlotte. Asuka... Now, granted, this thing with Rhea Ripley was kind of confusing. Asuka will now face Rhea Ripley, I believe, at WrestleMania Backlash for the Raw Women's title. Then after that, the referees try to stop Charlotte, but she continuously attacks the referee. And basically she leaves when all the referees were there, comes back, and then she just kicks the referee in the stomach. Overall... What are my thoughts on this match? I thought this match was pretty good. Now, the finish kind of confused me a little bit. Yes, Rhea Ripley is the babyface, and she was outside looking at the match, watching the match between Charlotte and Asuka. Now, she is the champion, and she is the babyface. Charlotte is supposed to be portrayed as the heel in this predicament. But Rhea interferes, but Charlotte fights back without the referee seeing it. Now, granted, when Rhea was interfering, that's like a heel tactic move right there. A heel would do that. A babyface wouldn't do that. Now, granted, if it was a heel and literally, if it was a heel attacking the babyface in their match, the babyface would, of course, take advantage and literally attack while the referee's not looking. But in this case, Rhea is the babyface. Charlotte is the heel. Rhea is pulling a heel tactic on Charlotte, who, by the way, is the heel. Now, when Charlotte snaps by attacking the referee, I feel like it's going to show you that I feel like they're going to go full babyface Charlotte on this predicament. Literally, I feel like they're trying to give sympathy towards Charlotte. Now, granted, the commentary team, Byron Saxton, was going against Charlotte, so maybe she's still the heel in this predicament, but honestly, I don't really know. Raw ends in confusion. Now, granted, in kayfabe, Charlotte was suspended indefinitely, fined for physical abuse of a WWE official. She got suspended in kayfabe, of course, not in real life, for her actions last night on Raw. In kayfabe, she got suspended. But honestly, if they proceed to add Charlotte in this match, I do believe if she's definitely winning the title. But granted, she's not in the match yet, but I do believe they will put her in somehow. But in my opinion, do I think Charlotte should win any other title? Absolutely not. I don't think she needs any more titles than she already has. And I think that it's a slap in the face to a lot of the talent in the locker room that don't get that opportunity, but Charlotte gets that opportunity. Of course, Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon do not know what they're doing. So, what are my thoughts on this show? Well, this show was an F. This show sucked. It was horrible. It sucked. As you can see, my reaction, this show sucked so bad that my notes were terrible. This show is so bad that if I try to book it or any other fan, that tries to book the show, it would still suck. Like if I try to book this show, it would probably still suck because of the booking decisions of these people. Like this show is terrible. This show is horrible. Like Raw is arguably the worst wrestling show of the week. And that's saying something. And look, SmackDown has its problems. SmackDown is not the best show in the world, but at least it's better than Raw. You know what I'm saying? Like Roman Reigns carries that show. Roman Reigns is the best thing in WWE right now. If you disagree with that, and if fans complain over Roman Reigns, I don't know what's wrong with you. Roman Reigns is doing the best freaking work of his career. Over here on Raw, I mean, Bobby Lashley, granted, I'm glad that Bobby Lashley is still the champion. Bobby Lashley should stay the champion, and they probably should book a match between... Now, on our road to SummerSlam, which is this August, by the way, I will be kind of interested in what predicament WWE will go. Because on one hand, you have Bobby Lashley as the WWE champion. Everybody wants to see that match. Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar, of course, two former MMA guys fight it out in the ring. And that would be an awesome match for SummerSlam. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you got Roman Reigns, who's aligned with himself with Paul Heyman. Who knows? We can have Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, and Paul Heyman's like stuck in the middle. You never know. It's going to be a confusing predicament for throughout the spring and into the summer. But hey, we'll see what WWE does. Overall, what are my thoughts on Raw? Raw was such a terrible show. That's all I got to say. Now, don't forget to subscribe. This is Broken Havoc. I will be reviewing Dynamite this Thursday. Actually, I will be uploading my Dynamite review this Thursday. SmackDown, of course, is going to be on Friday. I'm going to be uploading my review on Saturday. And we got the most important one, Impact's Rebellion pay-per-view. We got Impact Wrestling's Rebellion pay-per-view, which is going to be headlined by Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann, champion versus champion, title versus title. Who do I think is going to win? Kenny Omega is going to win. He's going to beat Rich Swann. That's the logical booking decision because they're going full-on belt collector with Kenny Omega. He's going to be winning every promotion's world title. He already won the AAA Mega Championship in Mexico. He's the current AEW World Champion. He's going to be winning the Impact World title. I do believe he's probably going to go after Nick Aldis, who is the current NWA World Champion. We don't know about Will Ospreay. He's the current IWGP Heavyweight Champion, but we don't know. But that's a story for another time. That's going to be in our Dynamite review. We're going to go more in depth on that. But yeah, we're going to be doing Dynamite, SmackDown, and Rebellion. And yeah, so that was my Raw review. This is Broken Havoc. Well, subscribe. Like this video, subscribe, and this is Broken Havoc. Signing out.